also trying to purposely, be quiet since it is late. I lowered it a decent amount. I mean, the only... Alright, how about this? Is this better? Okay. Well, it's been... God, when was the last episode published? Let me see. Two years ago, September 6, 2022. So now I'm getting back to this game again, and I will finish it. Not in this episode though, I'm just gonna continue past a certain point. But this is the Raven Remastered. Me and Naravar caught up by watching the previous episode, and now here we are. In the last episode, we got on a train, we learned about the Raven robberies, learned that it may not be the actual Raven, but someone else. And we were ordered to not board the ship, even though we want to come on board to, get along with the adventure. The Inspector Legrand does not want us to go. Some people, the Inspector thinks that it is the Raven because only the Raven knows certain informations about the Inspector. It's the same handwriting, he calls him by the same name.
In my younger years, I might have considered abseiling from the crane down to the ship, but those days are long past.
True. Let me see. I want to get used to the controls again. Unless it's kind of self-explanatory. Young woman's car. I can't inspect my own stuff?
I bought it last week, second-hand.
Oh.
I like it because it tells a story. I guess its previous owner replaced it with a newer one.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Amazing how much luggage there is for so few passengers. And I'd guess that 3/4 of it belongs to the women. Fine car, but nothing compared to the young lady who owns it. I'll take an inconspicuous look up close.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting anyone to be crawling around on the ground in front of my door.
Don't worry about it, miss. No harm done.
That's good to hear, Mr.
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner. May I ask your name?
Patricia Mayers.
Are you American?
I am. Could you help me, please?
Certainly. Are you on your way to Egypt?
Yes.
Are you on holiday?
My father works for a railroad company there.
And is rebuilding the country after the war. Wonderful.
Yes. Wonderful. One more.
No, you have another one
You're
right
lucky to have
there.
a father who takes you to so many interesting places.
Oh, yes. Lucky me.
Aren't you interested in Egypt? The pyramids, the history.
I would have been more interested in a father who doesn't travel 300 days a year.
I'm sure your father regrets that he can't always be with you.
No doubt. And I'm sure he always wanted the best for me. But that doesn't stop him from thinking only about himself far too often. Bring my luggage on board, please.
Excuse me?
It was a pleasure meeting you, Constable Zellner.
Impertinent.
Hold on one second. Because I'm realizing something. Just reloading really quick because I'm wanting to test something out. Yep, okay. That when I press the X button, it highlights all the items and my score goes down, so I'd rather not do that. I'll talk with everyone else around here before I go on the ship.
Ideal conditions for a cruise.
It's weird for an adventure game of all things to have a score, though. That's
Constable
not usually
Oliver
something you
seems
see.
to be a little simplistic. But I don't think he's a bad policeman. The way he reacted in the tunnel and got the train moving. Hats off. Hello, Constable Olivier.
It's Oliver.
I just wanted to say that you did a good job in the tunnel.
Thanks.
How did you know
Oliver?
how to get the train moving?
I come from a family of miners.
It's an alright
My uncle
name.
was an engine driver down the mine.
I see. And you looked over his shoulder.
Yeah, best way to learn.
Did Legrand tell you about his theory? That it could be the real Raven?
Of course he did. We're partners.
But the modus operandi doesn't fit at all. The Raven wasn't a bomber.
We have the letter. And the feather. That's his symbol.
Anyone can put a feather in an envelope.
You would know.
What's that supposed to mean?
It was you.
What was me?
You put
Me?
the envelope on the safe.
To blow myself up?
You threw the bomb away, and now you're the famous hero, right? And the Raven must have paid you pretty well.
That is ridiculous.
Is it? Only you and I and Legrand were in the freight car. One of us must have put the envelope on the safe. Legrand didn't. And I didn't think about it.
Really? Flipping through my notes. Nope, I don't need any hints.
Is the doctor afraid to board the ship? Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Ah, the hero of the hour.
The hero of the hour, but out of work soon.
Oh, you won't be a policeman anymore?
Yes, but on my old beat, which is almost as good as being out of work.
I understand.
Is your new job bothering you?
On the contrary, I wasn't sure whether I made the right decision until now. I'm from the Black Forest, you know. There are only mountains there. No ships. But now... the salty breeze, the atmosphere... I think I want to stay at sea forever.
It's very interesting
The
you
sea
say
is
that,
one
sir.
thing. The passengers are another.
It will be okay.
Have you already met the captain?
Mario Di Conti. Heard of him?
Should I have?
He is something of a star in Italy. A war hero. In the First World War, when he was a young man, he sank more enemy ships than anyone else. In the Second World War, well, he had some personal problems.
You mean like the ones you buy in bottles and pillboxes?
Yeah, you could say that. Anyway, sending him into combat was out of the question. They gave him a supply ship instead. And he became a hero again. His ship, part of a convoy from Palermo to North Africa, was the only one that made it, with an extra 100 seamen who he rescued from the other ships.
Impressive.
To say his health is rather shaky these days would be an understatement. I think most of my time on board will be spent dealing with his numerous ailments.
What do you know about the Baroness?
Nothing really.
Did you talk to her in the tunnel?
No, her butler was looking after her, and I was busy with Miss Miller. As you can imagine, it was a shock for her to see her son rolling away on a burning train.
That's understandable.
So, we were all glad when we heard about your brave deed.
Well, there's nothing left for me to do but to wish you a good trip.
Oh, you are not coming with us?
Unfortunately, no. I'm to go back to Zurich.
What a pity.
Take care, Dr. Gebhardt.
Oh, I just remembered. We found these in the tunnel. Are they yours?
I'm afraid so.
Strophantine. Do you have heart problems? Maybe it's for the best that you're not coming along. Too much excitement could be bad for your health.
You mean if I don't do anything, I'll probably have a few more years to live?
That's right. Keep your chin up.
So he has heart medication. That's... I think I forgot about that in the first game. Oh! Just ditched him?
I bought it last week. Second hand. I guess it's...
I'm gonna just tell you this now. He actually does have heart problems. That's not like a jab or anything.
James? James! Where on earth are you?
Hello, Baroness.
Ah, Inspector.
Constable.
Poppycock. You won't be a constable much longer. When they find out how you rescued that little boy, they'll have to promote you to Inspector.
Very kind of you to say so, Baroness. I hope you survived the adventure in the tunnel unharmed.
Scandalous. You book a first-class cabin, and then you're walking on the rails. Huh. They wanted to bundle me off in a bus without my luggage.
The circumstances, madam.
I insisted on a limousine and didn't leave until all my luggage was recovered.
I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, yeah, I'd want my stuff back too, but you'd think the priority would be, you know, your life, and, well, maybe if you were already safe, then I guess. What do you think?
Did you know that the real Eye of the Sphinx wasn't even on the train?
I had no idea. Inspector Legrand seems to prefer to keep me in the dark, although I'm the one paying for all of this.
The inspector is ensuring the safety of the Eye.
Well, obviously. All the same, it was you who did the real work on the train.
I hope that the remainder of your trip to Cairo will be less stressful.
You aren't coming with us.
I'm afraid Inspector Legrand doesn't want my company.
Now, where's my damned butler? James, there you are. Is the inspector to carry my luggage onto the ship all by himself?
Well, actually... Baroness?
Baroness, can you hear me? She fainted.
No. No.
Baroness?
Again, harder.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Help me up.
Perhaps we should...
She saw something.
I'll get Dr. Gebhardt.
No, Doctor. Just a little moment of weakness. Your arm, James. Take me to the ship.
But of course, madam.
That was no moment of weakness. She saw something that shocked her. Or someone. Very interesting. Especially since she doesn't want to admit it. Who or what did she see?
Security guy?
Neither of them seems to have noticed what
That's the
happened down
captain.
here.
The doctor, the inspector, the
You'll have a
violinist,
tough
the
time
lady.
with her. How does one get aboard without a ticket? Not brilliant, but it's a possibility.
I know who she was shocked to see. How would I phrase it? I won't. I just get on.
Oh, who do we have here? Signore...
This is Constable Anton Zellner.
Signore Zelna. I heard about your feats in the mountains. Welcome aboard the MS Lydia.
Thank you, Captain.
I didn't know you'd be
What do you
taking
think about
part
that
in the
name,
journey,
Lydia?
But I'm glad to have you with
Yeah.
us. I'll have a nice cabin prepared for you immediately.
The constable will not be joining us. He has other duties.
Oh, that's too bad. I would have loved to hear about his adventures from the man himself.
I'd like to accept your offer, but unfortunately, higher powers prevent it.
I am sorry to hear that. We are by no means full, and have plenty of room for one more passenger.
The constable just wants to have a quick look around and then leave before we set sail. When will that be?
Oh, in about 15 minutes.
There you have it, Constable.
May I ask how to get to the cargo hold?
Oh, signori, there are much nicer places on board.
But I'm interested in the cargo hold.
Why is that?
One of the trunks seems suspicious to me. Someone could be hidden in it.
You... You want to imply that the most brilliant and probably richest thief in all of Europe is stowing away in a trunk? That's not his style.
That's what makes it more likely that it's not him, but a copycat who's behind all this. And a copycat's style might include doing whatever it takes, like hiding in a trunk if they've lost the ticket.
Oh, come now.
Actually, it would be possible for a registered passenger to board the ship without a ticket.
What do you mean?
You can't buy a ticket for the Lydia at the counter. You book the trip in advance. We know the names of all the passengers. As long as a passenger is on the guest list, we let them board the ship. Doesn't matter if they have a ticket or not.
And did any of the passengers board without a ticket?
I couldn't say. We ask for a name and check it on the list. The tickets are no more than souvenirs for the passengers.
So much for your trunk theory.
Regardless of what you say, I would still like to examine the
I actually have
cargo
something to
hold.
say about
All
that.
right, then, if you like. But we'll meet here again in 10 minutes. Captain De Conti, before we depart, I'd like to send 2 telegrams.
Certainly, Inspector. The cargo hold is over there. You can enter through a door on the forecastle. The horn will sound twice, 5 minutes before we set off. That's the signal for all the dock workers to leave the ship.
Understood, Captain.
Follow me to the bridge. You can send your telegrams from there.
My time is running out. If I don't find anything in the cargo hold, my cruise will be over before it even begins. Oh no.
But yeah, that's the thing I've been noticing lately. Tickets, at least physical tickets for like anything really, from what I understand, are becoming more quote-unquote collectible, weirdly enough. Like... like, how would I phrase it? I know for, like, sporting events, for, I think specifically football, maybe basketball, there's people out there who collect, like, the tickets from the events, because I guess the tickets are very, like, stylized or some crap like that, and they become worth a lot of money. I couldn't tell you the appeal of that because it's just a ticket, but I mean, for something like a movie, I guess I can see the value in it from just memories alone, you know?
Oh, what's this? Aha.
Flashlight. They put her car in here?
That's the young woman's cabriolet. Apparently, they absolutely had to take it to Egypt, at Daddy's expense, of course.
There's the trunk.
Hello? Come on out. The game's up. I'm opening the trunk.
Empty. Very much.
Hello?
Darkness. Someone broke a mirror?
The shards are... Phew. I startled too easily.
Mouse? Someone smacked him over the head. Oh! Excuse me. And tied him up. Okay. So I have to go with what's in the crate. He freed his feet at least.
Ouch! Damned. Ah!
Well, I got free, but damn, that shit must have hurt like hell.
It would be best if no one found out about this.
The trunk moved. Because it was out in the open from underneath. And someone picked it up and slid it back underneath the shelf.
There's some blood and hair stuck to the pipe. Hair I really can't afford to lose.
Someone smacked him from behind with the pipe. Take the pipe.
I'll hold it on the blood-spattered end. After all, we already know who the victim is. Whoever locked the door is stronger than me. It's already dark outside. How long have I been unconscious?
Use the pipe to open the door.
A should be careful. The gunman may still be nearby.
Because there was a shot that went off.
What are you up to, Zelna?
I wanted to determine whether the gun had been fired recently, Inspector.
I mean, what are you doing on the ship?
I was jumped in the cargo hold.
Of course you were.
Here, look. Careful how you hold it. There could be fingerprints on the end.
Surely you don't expect me to believe you.
I was inspecting the trunk. I found it in the cargo hold, and it was clear that someone had hidden inside it to board the ship.
Some people are willing to go to great lengths to be a part of this journey.
Indeed. Whoever it was, they struck me on the head from behind with the pipe while I was looking for clues. Oh, and they shot at me as well.
Ridiculous. You wanted to come along, orders be damned, and so you found a way to stay here. I should throw you overboard.
I would have dreamed up something less painful.
True. That doesn't look good.
See? And there's a bullet wedged in a wooden crate down there. I don't have a gun.
The
doctor
shot
should
came
have a
down
look.
there. I thought someone fired a
with me.
shot from on board the ship.
Inspector Legrand and Constable Zelna. So you have decided to join us on our journey after all.
So
Oh,
it
she
would
does
seem.
not look good.
We are searching for Dr. Gebhardt.
I'm just fine, Captain Conti.
The Conti.
I'm in control. I can manage. Tell James he absolutely must wake me at 9:45.
Certainly, madam.
Absolutely.
I shall see that he does.
And now I shall return to my chambers. You'll be in the bar tonight at 10, Inspector.
If that's what you wish.
It will be spectacular. I promise.
The fresh sea air, and perhaps a glass of champagne to many. But I'm glad that you decided to join us on our journey to Cairo.
Not quite voluntarily.
So he says.
From behind.
But no, that is...
Dr. Gebhardt should have a look at him, Captain De Conti.
Of course. Please, have a seat in the saloon, Constable Zelna. I'll summon the doctor.
Why would you...
There you
Oh.
are. Our brave Constable Zelna was attacked.
Struck on the head.
Oh. Sit down, please.
Now, please, tell me exactly what happened.
I think you've got a stowaway on board. I was jumped.
Intolerable. I'll have the crew search every nook and cranny of the ship. And of course, Mr. Zelna, you are cordially invited to travel as our special guest.
Good to know that at least one man doesn't want to throw me overboard.
Is it bad?
Yes, it hurts a lot.
I spoke with Dr. Gebhardt.
He suffered a violent blow to the back of the head. I cannot really say how bad it is.
But I can. It really hurts. Why didn't anyone come looking for me? Didn't anyone notice that I didn't come back from the cargo hold?
We did search for you, but we couldn't find you.
Who was supposed to search the cargo hold?
Constable Oliver. I'll have a talk with him about that later.
I should hope so.
How many fingers do you see?
3.
3 fingers.
Okay.
Where are we? And what time is it? I must have been out for ages.
It's just after 8 p.m.
You just missed dinner. But we'll all meet here in the saloon at 10 o'clock to have a drink together. Greeting the passengers personally is a tradition I will not break, even on this unusual journey.
You're all right now, Constable. The bleeding has stopped and the wound looks good. You may have a mild concussion. You just need a good night's sleep. And tomorrow, your only worries will be a headache and an impressive bump.
Thanks.
That's a good enough reason to celebrate. Enough about crooks and thieves. From now on, you can start to enjoy your free cruise.
There is nothing in that.
What? A dark shadow. Upper deck, just now. Go, let's have a look.
I'll join you.
Me too.
No, you stay here.
Do you want to make this an argument?
Robert, go to the Baroness and don't let her out of your sight. Zellner, you're coming to the port side. Doctor, you go to starboard. I'll start at the forecastle and work my way back to the two of you. Understood?
But
Baroness von Trebitz! Hello? Baroness von Trebitz? Open the door!
She locked the door?
Dr.
Why does he
Gebhard
look so
insisted
nervous?
on coming along, but now he doesn't seem to be sure if that was a good idea.
Nervous?
Are you okay, Doctor?
oh, of course. Why wouldn't I be? It's just that... Well, I would prefer to come with you.
You heard the inspector. All right, Doc. I'm off.
Oh no, I'm not going on a manhunt all by myself.
Nah, dude, I get that.
Are you okay? Maybe you had better take a rest, in case the blow was more severe.
I'm
Seasick,
okay.
maybe?
Zellner, up here!
Come on. I think it came from up there.
I mean, he literally just said up here.
Sure, you just wanted to get a breath of
Oh.
fresh air.
Excuse me.
Zellner, look who we have here.
Well, if that's not our shadow.
And our stowaway.
Spent any time hiding in a trunk recently?
Me do nothing.
He claims to be part of the crew. Just wanted to get some fresh air.
Of course.
The Baroness won't open the door, sir. Understood. Take him to the detention cell, Robert. You were right. There was a stowaway.
Yes.
Fish
But
deck?
he can't be the Raven. He's too young.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the Raven isn't lurking here as well.
What was that?
A shot!
It came from one of the cabins.
Oh no! Baroness von Trebitz? Baroness! Open the door!
Damn.
Step aside, please.
We have a murder on our hands, gentlemen. Hurry, Zellner. The murderer still has to be nearby.
Someone killed the Baroness.
There's practically no one on deck. Anyone who's outside is a suspect. This time, we'll get him. Zellner, are you okay?
Yes. Come on. We have to.
Zellner? Zellner! Murder!
It's either from his blow or his heart. An alarm? So time passes by, and it's the morning.
You awake? Sleep well, did you?
I like to sleep late when I take a cruise.
While everyone else is hard at work.
I didn't pass out last night because of the blow to my head, did I?
Seems unlikely. Inspector Legrand thinks you were drugged.
Oh, it was the
How?
drink.
The champagne.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
Captain De Conti.
Interesting.
Well, think about who else drank. Yeah. So, whoever drugged Zellner probably also drugged the Baroness, whether that be maybe willingly or unwillingly. So maybe it was an accident.
Have you arrested anyone yet?
You mean besides the Arab?
He could hardly have committed the murder. You must have been with him when it happened.
We heard the shot on the forecastle. I locked our friend in the detention cell in the cargo hold, and then went up to assist Legrand. You were already sleeping the sleep of the just.
Any other suspects?
No. Seconds after the alarm went off, the decks were swarming with frightened passengers.
Yes. A clever way to stay incognito during the commotion.
But
Very
we still have our
true.
primary suspect, the Raven.
You really think he's returned?
Well, I think that no one knows as much about the Raven as Legrand.
But still, it all seems so incredible. About the champagne, shouldn't it be possible to find traces of the tranquilizer in the glass?
That is exactly what Legrand is trying to do.
Without a laboratory?
Oh, he's got a lab. His cabin is packed with all the latest forensic stuff. It's quite impressive what the inspector can do.
A competent man, no doubt. And surprisingly well prepared.
So he travels with a lab
He's
with
been at
him?
it all night with his brushes and tinctures and glasses and everything, working like a man
Not many
possessed.
would go to
I
that
wouldn't
length.
want to be the Raven now.
Especially back then, because I think this is, I want to say this is set during the 60s, maybe? Because they mention the war. Either the 60s or the 50s.
What's the state of play? How was
Actually,
the
hold
Baroness
on.
killed?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range.
There's...
We'll know more once the doc finishes examining the body in the medical centre.
And no one saw anything suspicious?
No one saw a shadowy Raven leaving the Baroness's cabin, if that's what you mean. A lot of people heard the
1963.
gunshot. Inspector Legrand wants
Because,
to talk to the passengers again this morning once they've all calmed down. and he's
in
had
the
a chance to
newspaper
examine
from the
evidence.
train, they mentioned Cleopatra winning, odds winning an Oscar, and that movie came out in 1963.
I suppose that you and Legrand inspected the crime scene and the surroundings.
It'll probably
Of
come
course,
up again.
And we already hit the jackpot. The murder weapon.
Really? Where did
Oh.
you find it?
On the gangway. The gangway for boarding the ship folds up and hooks onto the hull when it's not being used. The murderer probably wanted to throw the gun into the sea. He casually dropped it overboard.
But it landed on the gangway.
Bad luck.
But Legrand and I were on the side deck right after the shot. There was no one there.
Maybe the murderer threw the gun away later. We recovered it in the early hours.
I think I'll look for Inspector Legrand now.
Do what you think's best.
You won't get rid of me. I'm here to stay, Constable Oliver.
Be that as it may, Inspector Legrand ordered me to guard the cargo hold with our special guest. That's fine by me. Inspector Legrand may be able to get by without sleep for days on end, but not me. It's not easy playing with the big boys, Constable Zellner.
No, it certainly isn't.
Well, the way I see it is, he's basically a regular cop who got lucky with, finding, the Raven in the act of stealing the jewel. And now that he has a chance to prove himself, he's kinda being very... Yes.
How wonderful. Sunshine and a blue sky above the Mediterranean Sea. It would be a perfect cruise day, if not for the murder.
Yep.
Big, soft towels. I could reserve a deck chair with it. No, better not. Did Edison have any idea what would become of his invention? These things made quite a racket last night. I couldn't hear myself think.
No one's out here.
I'd really like to lie in the sun and take a nap, but I don't have time for that at the moment.
That does sound nice. If you're on a cruise, to sleep in the sun out at sea. So this is where they drop the gun.
Curious. One can easily toss a gun into the sea from almost anywhere on the ship without being noticed. And yet, the murderer chose the one spot where it's not actually possible. The gangway is hard to miss. Why did the murderer drop the gun on the gangway? They must have noticed their mistake, even if their back was to the sea. So, why didn't they take the gun and throw it a few meters farther into the sea?
The only thing I can think of is maybe the murderer didn't throw it there. Maybe someone else threw it there to prevent the murderer from getting the weapon. Or maybe someone threw it there in the hopes that someone would find the gun.
I suppose the life jackets are stowed there, close to the railing, close at hand in case of emergency.
It is suspicious. Yeah.
Constable
Water bottle?
Oliver brought something to drink. You can tell it's not the first time he's had to guard something.
Sleeping.
It may not seem like it, but Constable Oliver is actually a very effective watchman.
He said he needed to get some rest. Because he's basically been up all night.
The stowaway surely didn't sleep well last night in the cargo hold, although his cell is probably more comfortable than my cabin, and more spacious. I have to talk, even though he was already under arrest at the time of the... If I want to get into the car, he won't let me talk to us.
So I have to find a way to get rid of him. I'll talk to him later, though. I want to see where everyone else is at. Around the top of the ship. Doesn't look like anyone's up
We
here.
were here yesterday when we heard the shot, and it was also here where Legrand caught our stowaway.
Who the hell spells fish like that? F-Y-S-C-H.
Grate must be part of the ship's ventilation system. Nothing out of the
Excuse me.
ordinary.
Right over there, by where the life preserver is.
Why is there an axe hanging here? I suppose it's for chopping through ropes in the event that the lifeboats can't be lowered. Or they use it to enforce who's allowed on the boat and who's not.
I'm pretty sure it's for
ship's
the other
bridge.
thing.
2 men, one of them navigating. I get the impression that the officers keep things running. It seems like the captain concentrates on the passengers and the bar.
So, the navigator and the... driver, I guess you could say? I'm not really sure what you'd call a driver on a ship. The captain's not driving the ship, though.
The captain cabin was sealed. I'm pretty sure the seal doesn't have any legal relevance here on the open sea, but I'm still dependent on Legrand letting me join his team. I better not blow it by breaking his seal without permission.
Okay. Who's on the other side there, though? If there is anyone on the other side. Nope, I can't interact with it.
An evacuation plan? And some tips from the doctor for avoiding seasickness, sunburn, and the like. And here, a schedule of activities. A drink with the captain, a shuffleboard competition on the forecastle. That's about it. A real barrel of fun.
The medical center, so that's where the doctor's at. I'll come there a little later. I want to see the inspector
I'm not
first.
paying for this trip, and that's a fair price for my cabin. It's rather plain, shall we say. That is Legrand's cabin.
Come in.
Damn.
Ah, Zellner, are you ready?
Good morning, Inspector Legrand. My head is pounding, but I think I'm okay.
Chloral hydrate.
Hmm?
That's why you have a headache. I found traces of it in your champagne glass.
What have you found out so far?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We heard the shot. The murderer quickly fled the cabin and dropped the murder weapon over the railing later. A simple story so far.
But why was her cabin door locked?
Exactly. If the murderer wanted to make it seem like a suicide, he'd have shot her in the head and left the gun at the crime scene.
And if it was murder, why did he go to all the trouble of locking the door from inside? And how did he manage that anyway?
Especially since we arrived just a few seconds later and didn't see anyone near the cabin.
Something doesn't make sense here.
No, it doesn't, and it's driving me crazy.
I'm pretty sure he's still around. I just have to find him. The
Did
murder
you
weapon.
find the murder weapon?
On the gangway on the side of the ship. I suspect the murderer tried to drop it into the sea. He would have stood close to the railing to let it fall unseen.
And since he doesn't know the ship, he had bad luck and dropped it right onto the gangway.
Indeed. And do you find that probable?
Not a bit.
Neither do I.
What kind of a gun is it?
A pistol, a Luger 08.
Antique.
Manufactured 1,000,000 times during and after the First World War. Austrian model. The owner is David Kreutzer, the violinist. We found him tonight totally drunk on the bow of the ship. He confirmed that it's his gun.
So someone
but he
stole
claims
his
that
gun.
It was stolen from him.
Fingerprints?
Nothing. But it's worth
The
mentioning
violinist.
that the clip was missing 2 bullets.
And it's definitely the murder weapon.
The ballistic tests are incomplete. Actually, I've been waiting far too long for the bullet recovered from the corpse. Pay the good doctor a visit, Zellner, and see that he does his job.
Do you believe the violinist?
He'll be the first person I question. He claims he can't remember anything from the last few hours. Says he drank a bottle of schnapps.
He was on the train and he doesn't have an alibi. His drunkenness could be a smokescreen.
He fits the profile. He travels a lot, has access to high society. Could be interesting.
And this chloral hydrate?
Is a tranquilizer. Can be dissolved in alcohol. The effect begins in minutes and lasts for hours. Who gave you the glass of champagne?
The
I
captain.
believe it was Captain De Conti.
If believing were enough for us, we'd have become priests, Constable. Be a policeman and find out for sure.
Understood. You think that the jewel thief is the murderer?
Our friend would have needed another key to open the safe and steal the second eye, the one the Baroness was carrying. At least, that's what we implied.
What do you mean?
The Baroness was famous for her forgetfulness. I convinced her to give me the third key. It seems safer for the eye.
The thief searches the Baroness's cabin looking for the third key.
She returns from the saloon earlier than expected.
Surprises him, and he can't allow her to identify him.
He imprisons her until the coast is clear, and then shoots her.
And thus, the thief becomes a murderer.
But still doesn't have all the keys.
Are you sure that there's no bomb inside this time?
Professor Lucien locked it in front of an audience, and it will be opened for the first time in Cairo.
Let's hope so.
It would take hours to crack it, and you'd need heavy machinery.
Or the keys.
Or the 3 keys, that's right.
Do you really think that the Raven is behind all this?
He wrote the letter that was on the safe in the train. Without the letter, we wouldn't have opened the safe, and the bomb wouldn't have exploded.
But it doesn't seem like him, does it? The Raven was famous in part because he never hurt anyone, much less killed anyone, during a burglary.
It's his handwriting, and he called me Nico. No one else does that. I chased that man across Europe for years. It is him. It has to be him.
But the evidence...
Enough.
I'll be on my way. I want to find out who gave me the drugged champagne.
Good idea. And get the bullet from Dr. Gebhardt.
Of course. Inspector Legrand, are you okay? Maybe you should take a break.
I can sleep once I've caught the Raven. Goodbye, Constable.
Be seeing you.
He's been working himself to death for this case. He hasn't slept
Legrand
either.
is risking not just his career, but his health as well on his hunt for the Raven. He's working like a demon. Maybe that's why he caught the Raven and no one else.
My cabin?
No, I've slept enough.
Okay. Let's see what the doctor's up to.
Come in.
Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
And there's the next one.
Excuse me?
You want something else from me, don't you?
I'm afraid I do.
What a first day at work. Well,
What's the result of your examination of the victim?
she's dead.
I didn't make you work all night long, Dr. Gebhardt.
She was shot. Point-blank shot. Probably with a pistol. It seems like she was lying in bed. The shot struck her heart. She died immediately.
One shot?
More were unnecessary. And we only heard one shot, no?
And there's just one entrance wound.
Just one.
I am told that I was drugged.
That's how it seems.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, that was him
Why should that be my
when he was
business?
knocked out.
Haven't you analyzed the glass?
No, I haven't. The inspector said he's the better chemist. I let him do it. That way I could at least concentrate on the body.
Fair enough, I guess.
Do you think the Baroness might have been drugged? She was very tired and unsteady when Legrand and I saw her.
Yeah, I heard about that. I must have just missed her in the saloon. And without having seen her myself, it is hard to make a diagnosis.
Of course. Can you say something about her general health?
She was quite overweight, and the butler said that she suffered from diabetes. Despite that, she hadn't visited a doctor for several years.
Doesn't sound good.
Happens more frequently than you might suppose. Some people are scared of doctors and pay with an early death. It is possible that the Baroness wouldn't have lived much longer anyway.
Do you know anyone who's scared of doctors? Besides the obvious. Yeah. Really? That's a little kid. Kids can... I get why kids be afraid. Yeah. Okay. Oh, babe. It happens, but anyways.
Do you know whose glass I drank from?
What do you mean?
Captain de Conti handed me a glass of champagne. But where did he get it?
I don't know. Did you ask him?
I'm just asking because you were also in the saloon when the champagne was served.
Yes, but I only entered the saloon a few seconds before you did. I didn't manage to get a drink myself.
Which, in retrospect, is lucky.
Ah, you're right about that.
Have you already removed the bullet?
Did Legrand send you? What is that Frenchman's problem? I already told you. I will get in touch as soon as I have it. That is also what I told the constable, who he kept sending all night long, once I finally got rid of Legrand himself.
Did he look over your shoulder?
He probably wanted to take the scalpel from my hand and hack away himself. But this is my surgery, and I will not let amateurs interfere with my work.
That's understandable. How much longer will it take?
I have just finished. Send my regards to His Majesty.
No, dude, I get
Thanks.
that shit.
I think that's it for now.
No.
He was just
that
being
is
impatient.
It for now, then, and later. I'm going to lie down for a few hours. Can you tell that to your boss?
But...
Nah, dude, I get that
at least
too.
have the key?
Absolutely not.
But if we have to examine the victim again...
Then the esteemed inspector knows where to find me. In my cabin. In bed. Good night, Constable Zellner.
Nah, dude, I get that shit. You work all night working on a body. I'd want to go to bed too.
Come in.
So I'll give him the bullet and then, yeah.
Constable.
About the bullet, here it is.
Excellent. Give it to me. As I suspected, a 7.65 Parabellum Luger.
Don't you want to examine it in more detail?
When I have time. For now, though, we can assume that we have the murder weapon. There can't be too many antique Luger 08 pistols on board.
May I take a look at the Baroness's cabin?
We already searched it thoroughly.
Sure. But what about now, by daylight?
Yes, yes, fine, it can't hurt. Here, take this with you.
Thanks. I'll let you know if I find anything important.
But only then, please. I'm very busy.
Of course. About the tranquilizer.
Do you know how you wound up with the glass?
Not yet.
Then you should stop wasting my time and get back to work.
I'll be in touch
So
if I
officially-
uncover more clues.
Very well.
I'm part of the investigation now. So now, no one can give me shit about me not being allowed to be here when I'm solving this damn case. Mm-hmm. What did he give me exactly? Oh, a little thing to, No, it's in case I find
This
anything,
is the first murder
evidence.
scene I've ever set foot in.
It's like a little pouch.
There should be a ventilation shaft behind the hatch. Usually a good way to break in and out undetected. But we're on a ship. The ventilation shafts are very small here. I can't say why. and it seems impossible. But something tells me that the murderer entered and left the cabin through the door. The only question is how. The most unportable portmanteau I've ever seen. It must be one of the alarms. It was tripped at some point. The seal is broken. But there's no way of telling whether it happened yesterday or 5 years ago. A portable bar is more like it. Must be hard work transporting this big, heavy thing halfway around the globe. And the Baroness was lucky that the other freight cars were only lightly damaged by the explosion.
What do you say to someone who brings a whole suitcase full of nothing but booze?
An impressive piece, but I don't think it'll get me anywhere with the murder investigations.
Notepad?
The notepad has the ship's emblem on it. I suppose all the first-class cabins have them.
Inspector, be in the saloon 10 p.m. There is a murderer on board, and I will expose him.
It says, Inspector, be in the saloon at 10 p.m. There is a murderer on board, and I will expose him. B. The Baroness seems to have known the murderer, and that means that the Raven can't be the murderer. He never killed anybody. Legrand probably never got the message, otherwise he'd have said something.
Okay.
The mannequin surely came with the cabin. A mannequin for the Baroness's clothes would have a more generous figure.
A vase.
A big, ugly, and impractical vase. If it had a wider opening, one could at least use it as an umbrella stand.
Huh. What would you even use vases like these for? I suppose.
Can't see anything. Wow, heavier than it looks. Aha!
What is that? Feathers?
Nothing special. Although, it seems like one of the feathers was scorched at the top. Literally burnt. I'd better take it with me.
I can see that, but where's the pillow?
A tape recorder. Must go with the built-in speakers. Probably part of the cabin's furnishings. The tape recorder is older than the hills, but it was once very expensive. Top of the range. And it doesn't come cheap. There's only one reel. And it's the wrong one. No. No sign of the original reel.
That's more towards... Well, maybe. We don't know how short she was on the bed.
A reel made by
But that doesn't see...
I know the brand. Zeibling's tapes can be overwritten many times without losing quality. They're used in offices so that executives can record messages for the secretaries on the same tape over and over again. But they're not good for much else. They're robust, but they don't offer much in terms of sound quality.
How you say... That doesn't seem like a lot of blood for someone shot in the heart. You'd think it'd be fucking covered with blood. I don't
There's
know.
still blood on the mattress. The sheet and the blanket have already been removed. To analyze them, I suppose. Nothing. The blood spot is the only sign that somehow... That's odd. The blood is so red. Shouldn't it gradually darken in the air? Turn brown?
What if it's not blood? What if it... Wine, yeah, or ink?
The unusual color of the blood could be something that Legrand and Dr. Gebhardt missed last night. All cats are gray in the dark, as the saying goes. I should take a sample.
Have you ever heard of that before? No, but have you ever heard of the saying before? Yeah, it's true.
Something's under there. More feathers. And they're singed as well. I'll put them with the others.
A lot of... that might just be the design. No, it's the design.
The portholes face the side deck. If someone climbed out of the cabin through a porthole, Legrand and I would have seen them. Apparently, the Baroness didn't have time to unpack her bags. Or rather, didn't have time to tell her butler to unpack them for her. Sifting through all that would take ages. But here, the Baroness's handbag. Ha-ha. A small leather-bound book. 1964 is engraved on it. This must be the Baroness's diary. Cosmetics, a handkerchief, a spectacles case. Nothing special. The portholes are locked. One cannot open or close them from outside. It's the same problem as with the door. If someone left the cabin through the porthole, how did they lock it? And the Baroness wasn't shot from outside. The doctor said she was shot at close range. Let's see. Yes, it's a diary, all right. Difficult to read. No entry from yesterday. A brief, sober description of what she's done recently. Met Morris. Arranged benefit concert for renovation of Louvre Southeastern Wing. Times photo shoot for Eye of Sphinx. BM, poor excuse for photographer. Too fidgety. And so on. This entry looks strange. The handwriting is shaky. Difficult to read. Dreamt of Bobby. Yesterday would have been his birthday. Next week, Jay's. The Baroness was a very busy woman, and it looks like she had to cope with loss. She writes about Bubby and Jay. Neither seem to be alive anymore. Almost every family lost loved ones in the war. Maybe hers as well. I'll leave it there. I don't have time to read all of it.
1 second.
Why were the down feathers tossed in the vase? Or Is there anything else in there? There may be something else in the vase, but the neck is too narrow to reach in with my hand.
Okay, what the hell?
Sunflowers. By Van Gogh, I presume. He liked to paint that sort of thing. Can't be an original. They cost thousands of francs.
The sunflower one? I couldn't tell you. You just have to eyeball it from here because they don't show the whole thing.
The door frame was damaged when Dr. Gebhardt kicked it in. The real question is, why was the door locked in the first place? Assuming the murderer isn't a magician, and the Baroness locked the door herself before she went to bed, the murderer couldn't have left the cabin through the door. So, the murderer must have still been in here when Dr. Gebhardt kicked the door in. Which is unlikely because someone would have seen him, or he found another way out of the cabin.
Ah, see, he's right there. But he's all
The
fidgety.
Baroness's butler looks like he didn't get much sleep. I would describe his facial expression as worried. Hello, Mr. Inch.
Oh, Constable, hello.
You look the worse for wear. It must be terrible for you.
Quite
Excuse me.
terrible. No one will hire me now.
Excuse me?
My mistress was murdered. Would you hire a butler who's been mixed up in a murder?
But if it turns out
What do
that
you
you're
mean?
not guilty...
If, but what if not? Who
Hold on.
else would they blame? There are no gardeners on this ship.
I understand your problem. Under these circumstances, I'm sure...
Of course.
Why do you think? Oh, you're right about that. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but you're right. You're 100% right.
Did you notice anything suspicious last night?
No, sir. After the Baroness went to the saloon, I went to the forecastle. I was there until the alarm went off. I went to the side deck and arrived shortly after Professor Lucien and Miss Miller. We found you and Inspector Legrand there. You were unconscious, and the inspector asked us to take care of you.
Okay, hold on one second. Just checking something out. Okay.
Did you hear the gunshot?
No, just the alarm, sir.
You said you were on the forecastle. It sounded like the Baroness let you have the rest of the night off.
Not entirely, sir. One of the crew informed me that the Baroness wanted to be roused at 10:15.
Right. Why was that?
I suppose that she wanted to toast the success of the journey with the captain and the other passengers.
She hadn't intended to take a nap then.
That was not her way, sir. She had a lot of spirit, shall we say, when it came to social engagements and a glass or two of champagne.
The stream will go on for another 15 minutes and that'll be it. Let's see now you're hooked. Because there's a mystery afoot.
The Baroness's cabin seems to have been ransacked.
Indeed, sir, by the Baroness herself.
Really?
She was searching for something the entire afternoon.
And did she find it?
I think she did, sir, yes. She was in high spirits when she finally left her cabin.
You wouldn't happen to know what she was looking for, would you?
I'm afraid not.
Would you describe the Baroness as orderly?
Well, she always had a lot of responsibilities, sir.
That doesn't answer my question.
She used to take a lot of luggage on journeys, and I helped her keep track of it as best I could. She was always very angry when she couldn't find something.
What about the photos and the documents I saw in her cabin?
I really don't know. They were out of bounds to me, sir. Memories from the war, I'd say. They meant a lot to her.
The Baroness seemed to be pretty drunk the last time I saw her.
Is that so?
Does that surprise you? Did the Baroness not drink?
Oh, yes, she drank. It was no secret.
I understand. How serious was her habit?
Serious enough, sir.
Was she under any medical supervision?
Certainly not, sir. She adamantly refused to see a doctor. Like so many elderly women, she had a distinct aversion to hospitals and the like.
Let me put it to you this way. The lady has, I think, a German or an Austrian last name. When they say the war, what war do you think they're talking about? Yep. So, and remember this. The Germans, they prosecuted their own kind first before anyone else. Oh no, I'm just saying, how you say, the Baroness probably lost her family in the war via either them being sent off to war or her family being persecuted.
How long had you worked for the Baroness?
6 months, sir.
Only 6 months. I always thought that butlers stayed with their employers for decades.
Those decades have to start at some point, Constable. Her former butler wasn't able to fulfill his duties any longer. Gout, sir.
I understand.
I took on
Gout?
his duties and hoped for a secure position for the next 20 years.
From what I understand, to get gout, you have to eat certain types of food, like, Can you get gout from alcoholism? So the butler liked to drink.
May I ask what happened to your arm?
A souvenir from the war, sir.
Doesn't it hinder your work?
Yes, sir. Obviously.
I didn't mean to offend you.
The Baroness had a soft spot for disabled veterans. I think she'd been through a lot herself.
I think that's all for now.
Please, sir, find the murderer. You have to clear me of all suspicion.
No, I get that. The cliche of it was the butler. Ice bucket?
The alcoholic drinks and everything that goes with them is top-notch on this ship. As expected, fresh ice and tongs.
Damn, the...
Zelda, what is the meaning of this? Are even the police light-fingered nowadays?
I need this tool for a criminal investigation.
Well then, why didn't you say so? So, how are you getting along?
Actually, you...
Yeah, he was putting those drinks away, man.
What was your experience of last night?
Oh, terrible. Dinner was fantastic. Everyone was excited about having a pleasant drink under the stars. And then this.
You were in the saloon all night long.
As the captain, I have to care for my passengers. After you and the others rushed out, I tried to maintain a festive atmosphere. But when the alarm it goes off, I lose the battle.
How was the Baroness?
She really surprised me. After she was so unapproachable at the reception and didn't show her face for the entire afternoon, I was afraid she was one of the beaux and bourgeoisie. But then she arrived in the early evening in the best of moods. Already had a few, if you know what I mean.
Did she say anything to you?
She asked me where Legrand's cabin was. I told her, then invited her to come for drinks in the evening. I said it would be great fun. The whole ship will be there, and you don't want to miss that, I told her.
And then?
She seemed to like the idea. She smiled, and then left again for a few minutes. Then she came back and seemed very happy. We drank a toast to life.
So that's probably when she wrote the message. She probably meant to go drop it off to the inspector at some point. Oops. It still sound okay? Yeah. Okay.
But at some point she didn't feel well anymore?
She overdid it a bit. She suddenly started to swoon and almost spilled her drink.
Nope.
I asked her if she wanted to rest for a moment in her cabin. At first, she didn't want to. She definitely wanted to stay in the saloon. But then she realized that she really did need to lie down. We left together. You know the rest of the story.
So she probably wanted to expose the murderer, that's why she wanted to stay. Because if she overslept, she would have missed her chance.
Did everyone drink from the same bottle of champagne last night?
There was more than one bottle, if that's what you mean. There were quite a few guests, and the event lasted several hours.
The last bottle of champagne, the one the Baroness drank from, did anyone else drink from it?
Certainly.
We have reason to believe that the champagne was drugged.
Incredible. But wouldn't that have made everyone drowsy?
Not if it was only the Baroness's glass that was drugged.
I see. That's possible. On a night like that, many glasses are filled and emptied. There are several stewards, many guests. No one keeps track of every glass and every bottle.
A few drops in a glass?
Yes, it's certainly possible.
The only thing I could think of is... I don't think they intended to poison Zellner then. I think they planned to get just the Baroness, and Zellner just had bad luck.
The glass you handed me last night, where did you get it?
Ah, I understand. You think your glass was poisoned as well?
Did you pour it yourself?
No. I saw that you weren't doing so well and wanted to rescue the situation. I took the first available glass and I give it to you.
Was it on the table?
No, I hurry over to you, together with Dr. Gebhardt, who, of course, he had the glass in his hand. He was looking around for a place to set it down so that he could examine you. I took it from him.
And gave it to me?
I'd like to apologize for that, but you look so worse for the wear, and I just wanted to comfort you. I didn't think of looking for a new glass for you.
So the doctor had the drugged glass in his hand.
What if... Huh. So here's my thinking then. Maybe the Baroness really was drunk, but what if the target wasn't the Baroness then? What if the target was the doctor?
Is it possible to find out where the alarm was set off?
I'm afraid not. There are alarms all over the ship.
I saw that they're sealed. Can't we just check whether the seal is broken?
I'm afraid they're gonna be missing on a lot of alarms. You know, this is an old ship, and over the years...
So, you're saying that the alarms haven't been regularly maintained?
I'll inform the crew immediately, of course.
Of course. What can you tell me about the passengers?
Oh, not that much, I'm afraid. I wanted to get to know them properly at the reception. In most cases, I just shook hands with them as they boarded the ship. There are a few regulars on board, and after dinner, I had a conversation with Mr. Kreutzer, a talented violinist, and Lady Westmacott. But you already know them from the train.
It seems like there aren't that many passengers on board.
These bloody airplanes are making our lives miserable. Can you imagine? Grown men prefer to jam themselves into a narrow metal coffins instead of enjoying the fresh sea air on a ship.
It's all about saving time.
It shouldn't be about how much time it takes to get from A to B, but about how you spend that time. What you experience on the journey, that's what it's about.
I'll get back to my investigations now.
I mean, I get it. I truly do. That's why, how would I phrase this? That's why I'm very, at least personally, I'm very open to many different forms of travel. But like, yeah, planes took off for a reason. What took days or weeks to get to from point A to point B takes sometimes not even a day to get to via plane.
Lady Westmacott seems to be an early bird, but maybe that's
I'm
just
probably
because of all
gonna
the excitement. I saw
talk to
twinkle
her
in
and maybe
eye
some
on
other
the
people,
train.
and that'll be it.
She's eager to be part of a real detective story.
And I'll give the evidence to the inspector. Yeah.
Lady Westmacott, already on your... Oh,
Constable, don't you think before you speak?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No time for chit-chat. What have you found out?
We're still working on the case. Actually, I have a couple of questions for you.
Please, go ahead.
Oh, dude, she is very on the ball.
What did you think of our adventure on the train? An extraordinary story, isn't it?
I'm glad that you were able to prove yourself, Mr. Zellner.
Hopefully not for the last time.
I'm glad that everything ended well. I want to thank you sincerely for taking care of Matthew. I can't bear to think about something happening to him.
It all worked out in the end.
No, I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's not. No, it's not her. She's... she's supposed to be based off of Agatha Christie, who wrote a bunch of famous mystery novels back in the day. She was the author of the Hercule Poirot series. So, Murder on the Orient Express, Murder on the Nile, A Haunting in Vienna. I like that one too. Is it because of the spooky atmosphere? Okay. Jewel
Do
thief.
you think that the thief from the train and the murderer are the same person?
I think the new Raven is capable of anything.
Legrand believes there is no new Raven. He thinks that the old one has returned.
He said that.
Do you think it's possible? Everyone thinks he's dead.
As a dramatist, the return of the Raven would certainly be delightful. A legend comes back from the grave for one last job. It's quite romantic. At the same time,
See?
though,
She uses
I'm
that word.
disappointed.
Why is that?
I followed the Raven's career closely. There weren't
Romantic.
many burglars with such character and charm. His burglaries were clever and entertaining, but he was sloppy in London. He almost got caught, and I'll never forgive him for the affair on the train. Nope. I would much rather that the Raven stayed dead and had nothing to do with the burglary or the murder.
See, I use the word properly. You just haven't heard it used that way before. Oh, nay, say me now.
What do you think? Who is our suspect?
Everyone, or almost everyone. Everyone on board is physically capable of shooting someone, but who has the dark desire to take the life of a defenseless person?
One cannot read minds.
And one should not try. You have to collect evidence, traces, clues. That's what will lead us to the killer. It won't be like a bad crime novel, in which they introduce a new character shortly before the end who, surprise, surprise, is also the murderer.
Murderers leave evidence. They're nervous or unnaturally relaxed. They have to adjust constantly.
And because of that, they make mistakes. This is your chance, Constable. If you find the mistake, you'll find your murderer.
So I'm gonna tell you this now. What she described, a new character at the end being the real murderer, does not happen here. So it's not gonna go down like that. I'm still...
Have you noticed anything related to the murder?
Unfortunately not. I was already in my cabin and missed all the commotion. Damnable old age.
You're telling me.
Oh, you're still young. At my age, you have to expect that you won't experience much anymore. And although I've written about murder so many times, I've never actually witnessed one. How exciting.
I doubt everyone is so relaxed in such a situation.
Heartless is the word you're searching for. Right,
No,
Constable?
no.
I certainly didn't want the Baroness to be murdered. But if I can't undo it, then I might as well enjoy it.
Okay, that's a bit much. Say that again? Okay.
What do you think of Inspector Legrand?
He seems to be as skilled as everyone says. Intelligent, focused. I had a chat with him yesterday, and he impressed me, but there's something haunted in his eyes.
I don't think he ever really stopped hunting the Raven.
Catching the Raven made him famous. What if he actually shot the wrong person? Unjustified fame bothers people, the good ones at least.
And you think he's one of the good ones?
Anyone who tries so hard to tear down his own memorial must be honorable. Or insane.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course.
So I'll go talk with the inspector one last time, and that'll be the episode. But a lot has gone down in this episode. Oh, this game has lots of twists and turns that you won't see coming.
Constable?
About the tranquilizer.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
It was Captain de Conti.
You're sure?
He doesn't deny it, but he also says that the glasses passed through many hands that night and that everyone had access to the champagne.
So it could have been anyone.
Maybe the question isn't who put the poison in the glass, but rather who it was they wanted to poison.
Smart. And who were they trying to poison?
Dr. Gebhardt? The captain got the glass from him.
An unconscious ship's doctor. That sounds like it would be more use to a murderer than a drugged constable.
You think so? Did the murderer have reason to assume that his shot might not kill the victim immediately and that Dr. Gebhardt would be able to save her?
You're right. That's improbable. My ego is just searching for reasons for them to want to kill her, and not me. Good job, Zellner.
Oh, God.
I found feathers in the Baroness's cabin.
Really?
Yes, they were in a vase next to the door.
I hope this is leading up to some information that justifies this interruption.
Some of the feathers are singed.
Show me. Well, you may have something here.
I think that someone fired a shot through a pillow or something like that, and the muzzle flash scorched the down.
Yes, possible. Try to find the pillow and we'll take it from there.
I took a closer look at the blood spot from the Baroness's bed.
Yes, what's wrong with it?
It looks odd.
Odd?
I think it should be darker.
I understand. The iron in blood causes it to darken the longer it's exposed to the air.
Right. And
We don't have time to waste. Dr. Gebhardt examined the body thoroughly. He would have noticed if anything was wrong.
you trust Dr. Gebhardt completely.
I trust everyone as much as is advisable. There will be a complete autopsy in Cairo. Until then, the doctor is one of the few people on board who is not a suspect. You, him, the stowaway, Constable Oliver, and I all have alibis.
There are still enough suspects left. I was able to make the traces of a note on the Baroness's notepad legible. She wrote that a murderer is on board and that she'll unmask him. She asks the recipient to meet her in the saloon at 10 p.m. If we can find the recipient.
I was the recipient.
Monsieur?
When I entered my cabin last night, I found a message on the floor. Someone must have slipped it under the door.
Why didn't you say anything about it?
I didn't know that I was obliged to.
We are partners.
Not really. You're helping me out until we reach Cairo, because you somehow managed to remain on board.
But
I'll choose when and with whom I share information. You can accept that
God.
and continue assisting me, or you can spend the rest of the journey on a deck chair thinking about missed opportunities.
And none of this is by any chance related to the fact that the message doesn't suit your Raven theory. The Baroness knew the murderer from the past, and he was already a murderer when he boarded the ship. The Raven was always just a thief, not a murderer.
Careful, Constable. Are you accusing me of perverting the facts?
Of course not, monsieur.
Then let's get back to work. Good day, Constable.
I'll be in touch if I uncover more clues.
Very well.
No, because we still have more of the ship to explore. And more characters. I'll go to where I'm gonna go next, and then that'll be it. Let's see. There should be people lazing about around here. No?
No, Jacob. Business before pleasure.
It might not be in her room. Oh. I did not mean to go upstairs. Yes. But since I'm here...
The grate shouldn't be so easy to open. Did the stowaway open it and we caught him in the act? No. The pipe is too narrow. He wouldn't fit in there. I guess the cover has been defective for a while.
Yeah, because the fan isn't moving.
I could inform the captain that the grid has to be repaired, but if I start reporting all the problems on the ship, I'd have to shelve my murder investigation. This isn't a panoramic deck for visitors. There are pipes, steel cables, chains up here. You can smell the smoke from the funnel. I have no idea how the ship works, and I really don't care, as long as it stays afloat.
I suppose.
A boat like this would also make a good hideout for a stowaway. Were the tarpaulins arranged like that on purpose so that no one could put them back in order once they get in? You can tell at a glance that everything is ship-shape with this boat.
Come on.
I hope I don't find myself.
I cannot open these. Just him? Where are the other passengers?
I wonder if this game is an advanced version of bocce. Maybe the inventor realized that it's difficult to play ball games on a boat and came up with an alternative. The bottle should be full of water, unless the good constable happens to have a secret alcohol problem. No way to verify that.
I'll talk with him and that'll be it.
What's going on?
The Raven just flew by.
What?
Or at least, he might as well have.
I wasn't asleep.
I understand. It was just a ruse. Any conclusions about a young stowaway?
He's a bit suspicious, foreign and whatnot.
I see. Did he act suspiciously in any way?
No. The shot surprised him as much as it did me. Looked in on him earlier. Still seems to be asleep.
Covered with a blanket from head to toe?
Oh, he's still in there. I poked him.
May I go downstairs and have a couple of words with our guest?
No, you may not.
Come again?
Inspector Legrand wants to conduct all the interrogations himself.
I'm sure he'll understand if I form my own conclusions.
He ordered me to guard the door and...
How about a bit of individual initiative?
How about letting a man do his job? Or do you think you'd be better at it?
What do you think? What happened here last night?
The Raven broke into the Baroness's cabin, she surprised him, and he shot her.
What was he looking for in her cabin?
She was a rich woman.
He didn't want to steal her purse. He wanted the third key.
So Legrand also told you about that?
Why did he lock the door?
Why not?
From inside? An impressive trick.
I'm not saying I know how he did it. I'm just saying that it was him.
Why didn't he leave a raven feather?
Are you serious? We'd have suspected him straight away.
But fortunately, we still did. Let's assume that the old raven really has returned and that he really is responsible for all this. Who is he? Or she?
Oh, could be anyone. No one's ever seen the Raven.
He could also be paying someone else to do his dirty work.
Well, of course. No, it's a fact that he used to work with partners. They even arrested some of his accomplices.
But no one could ever identify the Raven himself. Some claims that they didn't even know that they were working for him. Fascinating. He could have hired someone with financial difficulties to set off the alarm at a certain time without that person knowing why they were doing it.
The man Legrand shot back then, he was a famous safecracker. He could just as well have been a henchman.
Or the real Raven. There's probably no better cover for a big thief than acting like a small one. I don't want to keep you from your duties any longer.
Good idea.
I have to talk to... Even though he was already under arrest. And what about the other gunshot? Could the second missing bullet from the murder weapon be stuck down there in one of the wooden crates? If I want to get into the cargo hold, he won't let me talk.
I'm actually not sure what to do now, because I feel like I've been everywhere I can go on the ship. There's supposed to be other characters. Huh? I don't think so, because it would have given me a prompt. Nope, see? And I already checked the other door, it won't let me go in. Oh. I didn't check this.
Wooden globe. If Galileo hadn't asserted himself back then, this would be a flat disk now. The globe nicely shows that 4/5 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Looking out the window, I'd call that an understatement. I wonder what information Legrand is keeping from me. If I didn't know better... The Sibling brand reel from the Baroness's cabin, the tape that came on it, and the reel that belongs to the player are both gone. The metal of the tongs feels cold from the smooth handle all the way to the tips.
Let's see, because I want to at least make sure that I've progressed a little bit. And so far I've just chatted with people. It just leads to the outside. Looks like this area is blocked. Yeah. And this area is roped off. Huh.
The metal of the...
See? See? This is why it's better to have two people sometimes. Oh, that's right. Fucking her room. God damn
A
it.
model of the Lydia before it was rebuilt. It used to be a freighter. The wide hallways, the cabins, and the saloon were added later.
Oh. That's interesting. You know, which one was that? Ugh.
Could work. There's something in there. Ah. Someone stuffed this in the vase. Looks like it's been used to muffle a gunshot. If this isn't an important discovery, I don't know what is.
It
Legrand,
doesn't look
here
like...
I come.
It's his pillowcase.
I wonder what information if I...
Let me see something before I go. Nope. Can't check it out yet. Oh, I just thought something was on this one, but I guess not. It might just be a blank tape.
Pillowcase is proof that there must have been a second gunshot. Inspector?
He's taking pills. Probably to stay
Don't you
awake.
I didn't realize. I'm really...
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to question each passenger individually. Anyone without an airtight alibi will be checked for gunshot residue.
But, Inspector...
People trip up when you put pressure on them, Constable Zellner. The Raven is nervous. He's changed his methodology and become a murderer. I'll see it in his eyes. After you.
But, Inspector Legrand... We have no proof that the Raven and the murderer are the same person. Quite the opposite. The Baroness's message hints at the fact that she knew the murderer and that he'd killed before.
You may not know it, but I do. I will catch him with or without your help.
I don't believe it. What's gotten into him? Oh, well. It makes no sense to tell him about my theories if his opinion is already set. I need evidence. Or better yet, the murderer. I also need his lab if I'm going to get anywhere. I need to get in there somehow. And I really need to talk to the stowaway. He may have information, and the inspector will just ignore him, since he's too young to be the Raven.
Bless you. Let's see here. So, I think this is a good place to stop. The inspector has decided to go on his, brutish campaign to interrogate all of the passengers, and we have to basically break into his room to use his equipment, talk with the stowaway, and possibly find the murderer ourselves. I'll save the game. True. But anyways, this is a good episode. We've seen lots of action and things going afoot. But the next episode, it will be for Murdered Soul Suspect. And if not, it'll just be more of this. But anyways, thank you all for coming. Thank you to Beautiful Wife for being here as always, and goodbye.